BFA of all things. Most, I think, um, you know, Asian parents are like, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer. Mine were like, yep, do whatever you want. We're cool with that because they know how much I've loved art since I was a child. So I did 4 years of that at UBC, but it became very theoretical for me, and I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I thought a BFA was going to be. And so after that, I went into graphic design. I got a graphic design degree from Emily Carr University. And then after that, I worked as a graphic designer, owned my own wedding invitation design firm for 10 years. And then COVID happened. During this time, I was always painting still. And then COVID happened, all the weddings came to a stop. And it gave me a chance to really paint for myself again. And then that sort of encouraged me to take the plunge to be a full-time artist. And here we are.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Phoebe. And I do apologize for the
No, 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 no.
Excellent. Next up, Shweta, could you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay. So my name is Shweta Patil. I'm not a trained artist. I am an engineer by training, and I've done masters in business administration. But art has always been a part of who I am. I have always been sketching or painting since childhood, and I'm born and brought up in India, uh, where art is a part of our culture. I think in different forms, not just painting, but various ways where we celebrate our culture in different festivals. So I think people just know some forms of art because we are from that place, I guess. So I have been sketching and painting for a long time, and I was always encouraged by my family, friends, and neighbors, and I think that was one of the reason why I kept going. And I think still it is the reason, I guess. People are still very encouraging, and it keeps me going. And there are, I guess, times when you just don't feel like painting, or nothing is coming to your mind, and there are some people who reach out to you and ask some things, and it helps, I think. So I actually kept doing random things for a long time. And I went to US for masters. Like I said, they had a design school uh, right close to the business school, and I audited some classes from there. And that's from where I started painting, I think consistently, a little bit consistently. I learned acrylics, and I started painting on canvases. I learned all the frame making and the technical part of it, and kept going with it actually. So that was this, I think that's when I started streamlining things instead of just doing random things. And after that, I met a group in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's called Sertoma Art Center, and it's still active, very creative artist. And they are very encouraging of each other. Everyone has developed their own style over years now, and I think these people as my teachers. I've learned from various people, even though I've not taken a course or a degree. I have learned from so many teachers. So that's how the process has been developing. Even now, I think. Even now, still in process, I feel. And after coming to Vancouver, I started, I think, painting on one topic. So earlier it used to be like florals and mountains and just all over the place, I guess. So now I paint with a theme in my mind, which helps to explore the topic more, I think. So it used to be florals, and then it changes, though. It changes the mountains. And a couple of years back, it was water, because I'm here, I guess, close to the sea. And I tried to paint not really completely abstract, but I try to incorporate the abstract elements into the representative landscapes. So, so that's what's going on. So now I think I'm on to water with wildflowers and the Vancouver blue right now, and I hope to continue with it. And nature is always the topic that I'm always interested in, because I keep saying this: this is where we belong. We are nature, and it's a reminder for everyone, I guess, for myself also, that this is who we are and we have to respect nature and conserve it. So that's the reason, I guess, behind all the art. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Lisa, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, well, Stephen, thank you for the opportunity to exhibit at the Silk Purse Gallery, and joining me up with Phoebe and Shweta, and being able to speak tonight. Okay. Anyway, okay. Well, I went to China in 1977 when I was about 18 years old, and that had a huge impact on me. Although I can't really directly tie it to the art that I'm doing right now. It must have impacted me somehow, but I can't relate that trip directly to the art, other than to say that when I went to China, 3 weeks there just changed my life completely. Um, uh, I went to fine arts at UBC years ago, and I switched from political science into fine arts, which is quite a switch, but they're kind of the two different sides of me, quite political, but at the same time um, have aesthetic tastes. Anyway, so I have a fine arts degree from UBC, from Guelph, and a teaching art degree from UBC again. And but what really changed, and I was painting in oil, and quite liked oil at the time, but I was finding it a bit restrictive. In the year 2000, I went to the Vancouver Art Gallery, and there was an exhibit of Chiang Kai-shen. I think he's Chinese, but he ended up living in Taiwan, Brazil, California. And he painted splashed ink paintings, and there was one, well, I mean, it was a whole exhibit, but there was one that was absolutely huge. And I just stood before that painting, and emotions just swept over me and overcame me. And that, I guess, was the catalyst. Anyway, it's taken me 2 decades to get around to, yeah, we're always evolving. So it was Chiang Kai-shen and another Japanese calligraphy artist named Kaz Tanahashi, who wrote a book called The Brush Mind, and his one-stroke painting also influenced my work, because yeah, I found oil painting just too restrictive. It didn't the paint didn't move, and anyway, so I discovered the brushes, the Asian calligraphy brushes of various sizes. You could see some very large, some very small. They all have different types of bristles: horse, wolf, sheep, and they all do different things. I'm kind of all over the place right now, but anyway, so somewhere between splashed ink of Chiang Kai-shen and one-stroke painting of Kaz Tanahashi, and also recently discovered suminagashi, which is paper marbling, or floating ink on water, and then laying the paper on top and lifting it off. And so I'm kind of playing with these three different techniques and coming up with something of my own, I guess. Some of the teachers I've had in the past were fellow, he's since passed away, but Yakman Lai. He had a gallery in Chinatown. Ari Tomita, and she taught at the Vancouver Academy of Art, Boku Jazz, and I've been taught by Kaz Tanahashi in San Francisco, and most recently Li Zheng in West Vancouver, and he's quite an established artist in China, and have the privilege to be learning from him. So that's kind of where I'm at. One other thing I'd like to say is that oil painting I've found is not that friendly to the environment, and ink and rice paper are way friendlier to the environment. So that kind of sums it up.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Lisa, and everyone else. Fascinating journeys that you've been on. But it sounds like art has always been a part of your life. And I'm glad that you've all had great support and teachers and fans to keep you motivated and going on. Next up, we're going to take a quick little tour of the show, give you all a little sample of what you can expect when you come on down to see the exhibit. When you really have to come in person, this video, it's just a quick little tour, but to check it all out it's a pretty stunning show. So as you come in from our sort of street entrance, this is sort of how you would come in and take in the gallery and all of the artwork. It was a lot of fun trying to display it. So as you come in, yes, we've got some work from Shweta and from Lisa, and some of Lisa's paper marbling. And as you come around the corner into the gallery proper, we've got Shweta, your beautiful and bold, colorful artwork. Yeah, so much texture and energy and life in your paintings. It's pretty invigorating and energizing. And then after that, we come into Phoebe's stunning work, which is, so moody and atmospheric. And again, lots of really interesting things happening with the colors and textures here. Really capturing those misty, rainy, windy, even sunny days, here on the waterfront. And as you come in, we've got some bios on each artist, so you can learn a little bit more about them, and then some more fantastic pieces there from Lisa. And then we get onto the wall to some of her stunning ink pieces. Really elegant, work. And again, a fantastic use of color. I think all three of you have a great sense of color and tone and just when to use what, These really interesting marks and gestures. So yeah, that's just quickly a little bit of the show. Get you all enticed to come on in and check it out. Next up, each of our artists have chosen one of their works on display to talk a little bit more in depth about their process, their inspirations. So let's start with Shweta. Let me pull up your piece and hear what you have to say about it. Excellent.
Yeah, this one here. So, like I said, I was inspired by the wildflowers. Spring is coming, so I'm thinking to continue with this idea still. So I have tried to play with the transparency of acrylic. This is all acrylic colors, by the way. So usually I paint opaque, but this time around I tried to create the element of abstraction in the opaque format, which I did last time with water, and water itself has an element of abstraction, I think, and I could play with it, but this with florals I could not do it in an opaque format. So I played with the transparency of some of the colors. Not all colors are transparent, I think, but some are. So I played with the watery flowy, the texture of those colors, and then I also played with the lines in each of the pieces actually. So that was the idea to. And also in wildflowers, if you see you feel like there is a randomness. There is a randomness, but still nature has a balance somehow. So that I guess yin yang, you have to balance it out in a art piece. So I have tried to do that as well. Like it should feel random, but still should have a feel of balance in it. It shouldn't feel like it's all over the place for some reason. So I guess color play and also the composition. So that was the idea behind this. And the Vancouver blue, of course, the blue that I have played with this is in all of the series, I guess I want the blue in the background, and then maybe all the wildflower colors that I can possibly bring. I guess this is a cooler color palette, and I'm also trying to play in a warmer color palette. I guess in the next ones. So, and I'll see how to balance, like I said. And I used to paint in a lot of saturated colors before. So I was talking to Stephen, I think the other day, that this is the this is the muted color tone palette for me because of the, I guess, background from India. People have We are really colorful people, so this is the, I guess, the muted color tone for me anyway. And I think it works better now, as it is not that saturated. So, like I said, I will continue with this because I really love where it's going. And every time it, uh, I guess, gives me different ideas. And maybe I'm not sure every time where I am going because of the fluid nature of the way it flows. So I don't necessarily know where it would go, I guess. So that's the fun part of it. Like next time, if I experiment with some different colors, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like I have another composition which I'm not a big fan of, which is a warmer color palette, but I thought maybe I should experiment a bit more. So that's how it goes in every piece, I think.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing, especially about, this experimentation, especially typified in this piece. Um, you mentioned a little bit about the line work, and you can really see that in the wildflowers. But there's a little bit happening in the background. It happens, I think, in just about every piece you
Yeah.
have here in this exhibit, where you've got these sort of almost scratches
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
paint. I would love to hear a little bit more about why you're doing that.
Oh yeah. So I discovered this somehow, I think by fluke. I wasn't really going for it, but I use a base layer, a transparent color beneath the painting. Usually warmer color tones in this case because the blue is going to be the top layer. So it gives an element of interest somehow when I scratch the upper layer and you can see the lower colors, and I try to just go crazy with it. Like I don't care about what colors I have underneath. So sometimes I just choose really wild colors and it works out well. I mean, that's the, I guess, surprise part for me too. Like sometimes you're going too calculated and oh, let's just decide on these colors, and it will work out, I guess, if you know where you're going. But then there is no fun, I guess, in it. Like if I have to figure out something new, then I have to experiment with the colors too. So sometimes I have there is a, I'm trying to remember, there is a color called gold something, really bright shade of green yellow, and I've experimented with that in this series, and it felt like a completely too much color, I guess, but it worked out well in the background. If I scratch it, and people are surprised, like, how is this? I mean, a part of this landscapes. Even I am surprised. So the surprise element is, I guess, that's what I'm looking for too. So the scratching gives me that, but you have to balance it, like I said before. You can't do too much of it, and yeah, it goes piece by piece. So you have to watch out, I guess.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. Fascinating. Next up, Lisa, how about you tell us about this incredible work that I'm going to pull up right here?
Okay. Yeah, this one doesn't have a lot of brushwork in it. So this one was, it doesn't look like Sumanagashi. Well, parts of it do, but it was an attempt at Sumanagashi, but I quite like the results. And so that's the process of dropping the ink on the surface of the water so that it doesn't sink. And then you blow the water, or you can move a very thin tool or thread through the ink to have it move around on the surface of the water, and then you lay your paper down to absorb the ink, and then you get surprising results. So that's what happened here. I like what happens in with the ink and the watercolor. I like the happy accidents. I kind of I'm all about the happy accidents. So I guess this is a happy accident that ended up looking like, whoops, sorry, a landscape. Some people see a cityscape in it. Other people, see a forest. So it's, I kind of leave the interpretation up to the viewer. I don't necessarily impose what it is on the viewer. People see different things in there. So I'm really experimenting right now with ink and these different techniques, and what could I achieve with them. And I find it kind of fascinating. If you show one of the other ones, I can describe the one stroke brush. Maybe you don't have one available, but yeah, so this is quite different than the Japanese inspired one stroke painting, which is the mountain above the fireplace. And that's done with one of the brushes that I showed you earlier. And that was very gestural, and I like to capture the movement. And actually, one of the books that's inspired me is, sorry, I've got my props here with me, The Way of Chinese Painting, and the whole idea of qi, which is energy, spirit, movement. So I kind of been intrigued by that. And I guess when I paint, I'm always being very gestural, and I haven't fully given into abstract. I would like to, but I haven't quite figured that out rationally in my brain. But so that's why there might be some resemblance to a mountain or a wave. And that's where I'm at in that exploration right now. So.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, really interesting to hear you talk about not being quite ready for like a fully abstract work. I'm curious about your use of a color because it's so minimal, but very effective. How do you go about choosing when and where to add the color?
Yeah, well, the when I first started, it was just mainly black and white, and I've slowly introduced color, like little bits of color, particularly blue, and tiny bit of green, and in some cases yellow ochre. Actually, I had iron water, which was similar to yellow ochre, but when I was in Cornwall, England, I was in an art collective store, and somebody is creating, I guess, organic pigments. And I brought back some iron water. So I was using that, about used it all up. But yeah, I want to introduce more color. So I'm just experimenting a little bit of color at a time. And I may get bolder. I'm aiming to get bolder, but and where do I put it? Again, it can be quite random. I mean, depends on the painting and the scene, but um, yeah, it has to be. I guess it's calculated, but it's spontaneous at the same time.
It's that balance that everyone's kind of been
That
talking about.
balance, yeah. Calculated, but made to look spontaneous. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing.
Beautiful work.
Next up, Phoebe, we've got a really great painting of yours to hear all about.
Yeah, so a lot of my pieces, I just wanted to backtrack a little bit on why I paint the themes I do. I guess I paint a lot of calm landscapes, and it's because it started off with me personally really needing these calm moments. I guess from, let's say, I want to say from 2015 to 2016 all the way to 2023. I just had a whole series of personal things that just knocked me out of my wind constantly, like every day. I I went through two fertility treatments to have both my kids. My dad had a cardiac arrest while I was pregnant with my first child. We didn't know if we were gonna lose him or not. He was in a coma for a few days. And then COVID during this time as well, which I think upped everybody's anxiety. And then when my son was 8 weeks old, he we almost lost him basically. He almost died due to like a freak accident sort of thing. And then after that, I went through a period of PTSD. So I felt like my whole nervous system was always on this fight or flight mode for that span of, I don't know, 7 years, just constantly. Like I felt like I was holding my breath. I couldn't let it out. And so I really had that need to really paint the calm that I was really craving for. And being at the beach and the ocean is my husband and our two kids' favorite places to be. So we're constantly there, and it's in these spots by the water where especially Tofino, I'm very I guess inspired by Tofino in particular. We were just there a few days ago, and I literally feel my shoulders just drop, and like I let out that breath of air every time I'm there. And that's in all my work, and in this particular piece too. That's what I want to capture, that exhale, that moment where you can just forget about all your daily to-dos, all the noises that's in your head and all that. So this particular piece, I sort of imagine it in that in between moment where it's really early in the morning before it's fully bright, or that brief moment when the sun has just set and you get these beautiful um, colors. And it's that moment where everything is just quiet for a little bit, especially in the morning when my kids are not awake yet, or or if I'm cooking in the kitchen and I look out my window and I suddenly see all these colors in the sky, and you just get lost in it for that brief moment. And you look down and you look up again, and that moment is gone. And I always trying to capture that moment where you just want to feel at peace.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, no, there's a real sense of calm to your works. I've had a few people say it seems like a stormy sea as well. So I think that's really interesting because your work is also, it's so up for interpretation, but it's also very deceptively simple.
Yes.
At first glance, it maybe just looks like a few brush strokes, but when you get up and really see what's going on, you have a lot happening in your work.
Yeah, and I think it comes from it's I work a lot in layers, and there's just so many layers of colors, and it really shifts with the light as well. Like one day, if the sun is shining on it, you'll see all these different colors pop out, and where as opposed to a uh, more grayer day, the colors are more subdued.
No, it's pretty wonderful to see. Yeah, all the colors hiding in your work. It's pretty lovely. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for sharing those really wonderful insights into your work and who you are as artists. You've all kind of mentioned this a little bit about why you're here, how you got here at this stage, with this as sort of your subjects and, the media and techniques you're using. I'm just curious, is sort of the landscape, or in a broader term, sort of nature or coast, do you see that being something that's always going to be a part of your work? Anyone can jump in.
I think for me, definitely yes. My other love is flowers. So it's still on my back of my mind to always somehow have the flowers and the coast have a conversation together. I just haven't really figured it out how.
Ask Shweta.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, I think it was the same for me too. Flowers and landscapes. I used to sketch portraits way back when I was in college, but then I left it and I never went back to it. I don't know why. So I guess landscapes is there to stay.
I don't think for me.
No?
I had another painting I was hoping to put in the show, but it wasn't ready on time, but which is completely abstract.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, so I just have to figure that out. I want an image to be authentic. I want whatever happens to be authentic, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But I might leave the landscape behind entirely. I don't know.
Cool. Well, again, thank you all for sharing. That was very interesting and inspiring. Makes me want to go grab a brush. And so please, hope everyone watching, I hope you really enjoyed this. And if you are watching this before April 5th, please come on down to the Silk Purse here in West Vancouver and check out Coastal Escapes and see this incredible artwork by these talented artists. Yeah, so just check it out. That's all I gotta say. See their artwork, experience it. It's really beautiful and really moving. And so thank you, Lisa, Shweta, and Phoebe, for sharing your work with us and for sharing these insights in this conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Stephen.
you.
Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity, Stephen. You and your
Yeah.
team have been doing a great job every
Yeah.
single time. It's not easy to put together everything. I mean, I was really surprised by 3 different styles, the way they are put together, completely different styles, but it flows so well. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it
Thank
was
you.
like you mentioned, and as we've seen, you are all so different, but you're all approaching your subjects and your medium, your media with the same sort of passion and the same sort of zeal and that spirit of experimentation, and trying to find some kind of balance within your work and within yourselves and the world, and that really comes through and really kind of ties all three of you together. And it's all, again, very recognizably our West Coast.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yes, thank you all for this fantastic conversation. Check out Coastal Escapes at the Silk Purse until April 5th. And until our next exhibition, we have another art talk. I hope you all stay creative. Take care.
Thank you.